How goes it all? Welcome back to Patterson Oak Properties. Hopefully you guys having a great and exceptional day. Alrighty. So this is interesting because states have been looking for ways to ensure people can become property owners or be able to keep their property at the end of the day, keep their taxes, personal property taxes lower, or eliminate personal property taxes altogether. States like Florida and now the state of Texas have been talking about that. Now, if this meaning the state of Texas actually votes to get rid of personal property tax on homes, it will be an economic game changer, but it will be interesting on how they do this from a state perspective. So the current governor of Texas, Greg Abbott, whether you like him or not, is irrelevant. You know me, I don't do politics, I do economics. I'm not a fan of any politician. Putting an end to the property taxes. That's his goal. That's his record. That's his goal to get done in the state of Texas. According to the article that I read the other day, Governor Greg Abbott touted plans to end property taxes used to pay for public schools in Texas as he met with Galveston County commissioners on Tuesday morning and later addressed oil and gas producers at a conference in the afternoon. Before I go forward, whether you like taxes or not, I think that this will be a game changer. But I think that we already living in a time where government resources are being cut and gutted and just basically given to the well-to-do. And if that's the way people want it to be, then that's fine. But this is why I say make money moves a liberal like a fool, because everyday regular working people are going to get screwed regardless of the situation. And in the state of Texas, I just see that happening more and more because people act like the state of Texas doesn't have high crime rates and homeless people, because they do, and poverty rates because they do. But I digress. Anyways, the governor unveiled his plan last year as part of his campaign promises to lower property taxes. Texas Tribune reported on Tuesday the governor used Galveston County as an example for what he says other counties around Texas should be doing to lower property taxes. So my mindset, as long as these cuts do not affect public education, even though most education systems aren't really worth much nowadays because they keep gutting the systems and nobody cares anymore. And it doesn't affect emergency services within the state, then go for it. I don't live in Texas. I most likely will never live in Texas. I like visiting Texas. But the only reason I don't like Texas is just because of the weather. It's too freaking hot in the summertime. But I know people say hot is hot, but I'd rather deal with hot weather in California and Arizona and Nevada than deal with hot weather in Florida and Texas. It's a different kind of heat for me. Article also stated that the governor, one reason property taxes goes up due to increased spending by property tax jurisdictions such as local school districts. So his whole thing is cut the spending, therefore you cut the taxes. Galveston County has proven that even in a growing county, they have the ability to live within their means and not spend excessively, and we expect local property taxing jurisdictions to be able to achieve the same goal, Abbott said. And like I said, this could be a great thing. My only thing is Galveston County. I've been to Galveston County a bunch of times. It's a different monster compared to the rest of the state. Number one, it's one of the biggest tourism spots in Texas because of the ocean. It's Galveston Beach. The ships importing and exporting, that happens there, and there's a Coast Guard base there all at the same time. So you have those things there from an economic standpoint compared to other parts. If you go to Western Texas, where the economy might not be doing the best. And then of course you have other taxes that are being put into play for Galveston counties for them to collect when it comes to revenue and whatnot. So matter of fact, while I'm recording this now, let me see, because as I'm reading this, I rarely ever do this on this channel, but let's just do the research on this and see, does Galveston County have personal property taxes, or have they just lowered them? Do you have to pay personal property taxes on your home in Galveston County, Texas? Yes, you must pay property taxes in your home in Galveston County, Texas, as Texas has no state property tax, but relies on locally assessed taxes on real property. These taxes are determined by the Galveston Central Appraisal District. Based on the home's appraisal value, you can lower your tax bill by applying for exemptions such as homestead exemptions. And that's how it is in a lot of places. around the United States of America. So he's talking. I guess he's talking about maybe. His whole thing is like he wants the state of Texas to mimic Galveston County by not continuously raising personal property taxes excessively. And I can get with that program, but they haven't eliminated not having personal property taxes, because see, that's what catches the eyes of people. Hey, I don't have to pay personal property tax on my home. Let me move to the state of Texas. So that's why I said it's great in practice. I mean, it's a great theory, but will they ever come to be in practice? Because it's one thing to not raise the personal property taxes, but to eliminate the personal property taxes, you're going to basically cut into the budget of the local jurisdictions. And especially given the fact that the state of Texas doesn't have income state tax, which is a good thing. You will therefore ruin the budget in that aspect, because like, where's the state of Texas going to get their revenues? That's just something to take into consideration. I'm not an advocate for either one because I don't live there, so I'm really just reporting it. And matter of fact, for the sake of it, I did this years ago when I was bored. Let me do this now. How does the state of Texas collect tax revenue? All right, so the state of Texas generates tax revenue primarily through 6.25% state sales and use tax, which accounts for roughly 58% of the tax income. As a state without a personal income tax, Texas heavily relies on a mix of consumption-based sales taxes, business franchise taxes, oil/gas production taxes, and federal funding. So they do get money from the federal government to help, from a state perspective, and they get their money from, which I thought they hated the federal government, but I'm gonna leave that alone. Yeah, because I don't side with either political party, so I just think I always say both sides are full of it. But so they get money from the federal government, oil and gas production, because that's the big business there, franchise taxes. Because you have franchises all over the place, sales taxes, and a mix of consumption-based sales taxes. Okay, cool. So that's how the state gets their money. So their whole thing is to try to lower taxes, and I'm not against that. Hey, but once again, the state and the local governments have to figure it out, because certain local governments are a little ridiculous in raising personal property taxes to the point where people cannot even afford to own a home, especially in places where it's cheaper to buy a house. But it gets to the point where people's personal property taxes get so high where they don't even have a mortgage on it anymore, but they can't afford to pay the personal property taxes. So, like I said, this is interesting, and I'm not picking a side, I just think it's interesting, and sometimes it's just nice to do additional research. And usually I don't do that when I do these videos. I just read off the queue, and I was just like, you know what, let me do some additional research for a change and go from there. So anyways, so he's trying to mimic Galveston County, which they have not eliminated personal property taxes. They just haven't raised personal property taxes. I'm all for it. Okay. So anyways, he says Galveston County has proven that even as a growing county, because they have the ability to live within their means and not spend excessively, and they expect every local property jurisdiction. And the governor says funding for public education should come solely from the state, not homeowners. He claimed, so basically he's saying that, so don't raise the personal property taxes, and funding from the state should go to public schools. So that means a lot of federal tax dollars will be going to the public school system in the state of Texas. I mean, that's how I'm translating it, and then from the other revenue sources as well. He claimed that the annual surplus that the Texas government has had for the past 4 years is far more than what we needed to make up the costs. Now, with that being said, I do not doubt that the state of Texas has a surplus, because I know they do. But every single county does not have the same tax revenue as Galveston County. They don't have a growing population as Galveston County. Heck, just like most states, the biggest tax revenue comes from the major metropolitan areas. Dallas, Houston, and Austin has the biggest populations within Texas. Houston is the biggest city in the state of Texas, and they generate most in tax revenue within the state. But and then a lot of people who've moved from the West Coast and other parts of the country to Austin left for two specific reasons. Number one, they couldn't take the summers there in Austin because it's too hot. And then number two, because of the personal property taxes were so high that it's like, yeah, we can't do this anymore. So they went elsewhere. Anyways, but similar, smaller jurisdictions across the state of Texas may have another opinion on the matter. And because smaller jurisdictions have less tax revenue, therefore emergency services and education could be affected because of the lack of future tax revenue. But at the end of the day, we shall see what happens and go from there. See if most likely the plans of to making a state law to where local jurisdictions can't raise raise the cost of taxes, personal property taxes. I can see that passing, but I can see certain state senators not voting for that because they're like, hey, in my jurisdiction we need to because we lack revenue. They'll consult with their local county supervisors, mayors, city council people, things of that nature, and go from there. Like I said, I'm not making this a political issue. If you want to do that, that's on you. I'm just talking facts in regards to what the state of Texas is doing. I like going to Texas, always have a good time, and specifically Houston, I go from there. So anyways, let me know what you think in the comment section. Don't forget Patterson on Property. We wholesale real estate in the Reading, Pennsylvania area, Harrisburg, Pennsylvania area, and the DMV area, Philadelphia area. Check us out, go from there. If you're a stock market investor, crypto investor, individual, retirement account investor, don't forget to check out WeWillStash, acornscripted.com, Coinbase. All those platforms you'll be able to make some money move so you don't live broke like a fool. Remember, you can't get fired if you own the company. It's 2026, time for you to own something. So do the great TV things. Like, share, and subscribe. Have a great day. Make money move so you can live broke like a fool. Say in Spanish. Welcome to the life. I'm out.